Trillions of dollars move through real estate every year, but most people never learn how to turn one property, one conversation, or one opportunity into ROI. So tonight we're going to be talking about how we can accomplish getting some of that money, getting some of the trillions of dollars moving through real estate.
Yeah.
And who better than to discuss this than the real estate queen, the GOAT, the
Woo.
flip, the House of Overflow coach, Brandi, Brandi Baker.
Yes. Appreciate you having me tonight.
So let's get right to it.
Let's
Let's
do it.
tell everyone the benefits of flipping homes in today's market.
I think the biggest thing right now is like people are always thinking about what they told themselves they need to do when it comes to investing, and then what they haven't done yet, and the guilt behind having not taking that first step, whether it be due to fear or whether it be due to time, or just like not having the knowledge and understanding. So the what I've seen happen is that most people learn that it's not as difficult as they may have perceived, and then there's such a great reward. Like the reward is like what it takes people thousands of hours to accomplish at work. It doesn't take half the amount of hours of your own effort and energy to get that same income in flipping houses.
So the first thing I want to talk about is real estate is bigger than just selling homes. A lot of people don't know that. So
Yeah.
real estate agents, this is important. I want you to really listen. When a real estate agent understands the flip side of the business, how does that make them more valuable?
Oof. I think my students experience my um, my investing and construction knowledge, and I think that really allows them to understand what it takes to be a good agent and represent someone fully when they're making a huge purchase like purchasing a home, right? And I think a lot of agents also hinder the sale of houses because they don't understand what a small repair is from a large repair, and then the cost of those repairs, or even how to negotiate repairs in the process of a transaction. And so what happens is a less experienced agent will require a perfect home for their buyer, but a more experienced agent can create a perfect home experience for a buyer because they know how to negotiate and they understand what repairs are really at hand when they view the house.
And when you're a real estate agent selling homes, that's your bread and butter. And I always say, like I posted on Threads the other day, I said, what makes you different from other real estate agents? I'm asking all
Mhm.
real estate agents, how do you stand
Right,
out? Because
right.
you're showing the same house that
Yeah.
everyone else is. And a lot of them responded back with, well, you can trust me. And that was big. Like, but how do I know I can trust you? Like, the only thing
Mm,
that you post is about selling a home or
yeah,
showing a home. You're not educating anyone. You're not building that trust.
yeah,
And I think with you coaching real estate agents or coaching people that's trying to get into the field of flipping homes, they have to understand it's not just about flipping a home. It's a whole business when it comes to
sure.
doing things like that.
Absolutely. It definitely is. And there's a system at play, right? And if you don't know how to put that system together and how to allow like all the pieces that have to come together to produce a like ideal flip for an end buyer, then that's the start of trying to figure out how to get something to be a fluid process, right? All the pieces of the project work together. The people work together, the materials are on time, the logistics behind the project is on time. Once you learn that system, then flipping houses becomes much easier than people make it out to be for sure.
So I don't know about flipping homes yet because but
Yes,
that's why you're here. So when it comes to flipping homes, do your students have to do marketing or how does that work?
marketing the property when it's over.
Yeah, after you fix
Yeah.
it, like how is marketing?
So they have to list the property with the agent, put it on the MLS like typical house sales. And then when they list the properties, they are, of course, on Zillow and Realtor.com and all the avenues where the typical MLS property is blasted out over the web. And then the other thing we do is like how do we prepare the house to be listed, right? How do we ensure the house looks presentable? And it's about hiring a photographer to do the real estate photography in a way that positions the house online to feel like something that someone would want to come out and see. I've seen agents put houses online that they took with their phone, pictures with their phone. You know what I'm saying? And there's a significant difference between the two photographs.
So you need professional work, even when you're flipping homes. Because I think a lot of people have the misconception of, well, I'm just gonna fix it. I'm gonna record it on my phone. I'm gonna just post it all over everywhere.
Yeah,
So that's why I said it has to be ran like a business. Like you need a marketing team. You need um, a coach.
yeah.
You need guidance. You need management. You need things
You might
because you
need
don't.
stages. You might need to put it in a magazine. You might need to send an email blast. You might need to do reverse prospecting. I mean, there's a lot of things that agents even do that I don't think people understand. Um, how agents are so successful, the ones that actually know what they're doing, because there's a lot of behind the scenes that they might not explain to their clients about all the different ways that they market the property. But a good agent is going to actually push the house in front of as many buyers as possible, but also prepare the house before they even list it so that the house will move and be sold in the time frame that the seller is looking for it to be sold in.
Gotcha. So I just thought of something. If someone wanted to make this like their passion, their business,
Yeah.
what's a realistic number that they could hit in a year coming out of your program? Let's say they took your program the first year, and then the next year they're like, okay, I'm ready to just put my all into this flipping homes. What's a realistic number that they could shoot for after coming out of your program, revenue wise?
I mean, let's say if they were in my program for 1 year, year two, and it was like a fresh start, they could flip 3 to 4 houses.
3 to 4
And so
houses.
year two, they could make like between $100,000 to $200,000.
That's life changing money for some people.
Yep. I mean, I have a student right now. I have several students that are on like their second property in less than a year. And so I have a student right now. She's on her third property, and the third property actually, um, she ended up buying land, we just discovered that she can build like up to 4 homes on the land, and so she's going to end up building 3 homes on the land. So literally in a year and a half, she probably is going to net minimum $200,000. She might be able to produce almost $300,000 in a year and a half of just my coaching experience with her. So first year, right? Very active student, very obedient student, very coachable. She definitely is autonomous. She works on her own pace, but her pace is to like get to work. You know, once she had one flip and it was ready to be sold, she began to look for another flip.
Now, I know, I understand you are a financial like a financial major or what
Finance,
word?
yeah,
Finance major,
yeah,
right? So numbers, that's the real like understanding numbers. That's very important, especially in the field that you live in and you coach in. So
yeah.
let's talk about understanding the numbers and how important it is when people are trying to transition from or balance really their 9 to 5 if they are high earners and they want to just try to transition out of a corporate job, should I say,
Yeah.
quote unquote. How big is it with understanding the numbers before you say I'm just going to leave my job and the rate of return on that?
So I think that before anybody leaves their job, they should have $100,000 liquid in their bank account. And then I think that I think this is great to do alongside of a job because you don't really have to go to the property enough for you to just like not work at all. But my student that is like I just mentioned, she works for herself, so she does have more of flexibility when it comes to like finding deals, going to check the deals when they're available, to, you know, write contracts for opportunities that come her way, right? Nothing's hindering her from being able to go and jump on the opportunity when they arise. And so I think that that's helped her a ton. But yeah, you should have 100 grand before you start doing any type of letters of recognition or resignation. Don't be writing no resignation letters until you have $100,000 in your bank account.
And with your program, people typically flip two or three homes with working with you in that year, right?
Well, I would say people are going to flip one house. That's my guarantee. My guarantee for my program is that you're going to flip a house. If you don't flip a house, it's because you turned down every opportunity that we gave you, right? And like there'll be plenty of evidence that you turned down every opportunity that we gave you. Because my goal is that you learn from doing, and you really learn from experience. And so you have to actually experience what it's like to flip a house before I can, confirm that you understand what it's like to flip.
Gotcha. And the reason I asked that question is, after that first flip that people make, they're like, "Oh, shoot up! Like it's a high. Like I just got all of this
Yeah,
money." So what I'm saying is, if you are entering Brandy's program, don't rush it. Just go ahead, stay in the
hmm,
program. You might need to be in the program another year, but you see the
yeah,
return on your investment, and
yep,
after you get that $100,000, then you could transition out. But I just wanted to get your insight on that. Like, when should you leave? Because a lot of people, they hate their job, they don't want to they don't want to go to work. They're trying to
yep,
figure it out, and then when they
yep,
enter your program, they're like, "Oh, this is my big break." So I just want to be realistic with, okay, if you do enter this program, or when you do, I'm not going to say if you do, when you enter the program,
yep,
Brandy is going to make sure that you flip a home, and then you can re-enter the program the next year. Then you can be on your way. You can have like a roadmap on when you are going to exit your job
absolutely,
because you'll have that
absolutely,
100,000 saved up.
yep,
Now with real estate agents, I feel like that's an unfair advantage that they can have entering your program because they already are inside the market. They already have the knowledge.
hmm.
So, would you say that real estate agents do very well in your program?
Real estate agents struggle more,
Wow.
like the
Why is
complete
that?
opposite of, because one of the things that I always tell people, because every time people come, one of the things they're always like, should I get my license? They're always trying to figure out, like, should I be licensed? Do I need to go to real estate school before I even start flipping houses? And I'm like, absolutely not. Because the way that you're taught to be an agent, it can be counterproductive to your ability to be an investor. And so investors take risks, right? They can like see, we're visionaries, right? We can see something before it even comes to fruition. And sometimes licensing prevents you from being able to see past the roadblocks or the negative hindrances that happen, you know? And I think that the biggest thing about that is just like understanding that agents typically they have a very limited way to see things, you know? And because they have that limitation, it hinders their ability to like see all the things that could happen in real estate. Like, for example, I had an agent that was asking me questions about the real estate contract, like the normal real estate contract that we fill out. And the only reason that they were asking me those questions is because they're in the investor space. And so now they're like, I don't even know if I'm filling out the normal contract the right way now that I'm an investor. And see, it's just like that blockage is just a small detail. Like, we are trained to know how to fill out that form, right? Like, no matter what you have to check on that form, we're trained to fill it out. And so just that small limitation is a sign that like they're only teaching you to stay in this box of what's normal, what a normal sales transaction is like. And I think that's just a huge hindrance.
I think that's the same in business as well. Like, think about if you have a person that only does marketing, they only hold a
Mm-hmm.
camera.
Yep.
I don't. I think it'd be harder for them to run a business. Just like
Yeah.
they say, the students in school that make the best grades, they don't make great um, business owners, really, because they're so detailed in their approaching things. Like it has
Yep.
to be the right answer. It has to be this. There's only
Yep.
one way that you could get this answer. But
Yep.
entrepreneurs and small business owners and business owners, period, we have to look at things like, okay, if there's a way I can make it work, I'm gonna I'm gonna make it work no matter
Right.
what.
Yep.
And it's like you get an F when you always been getting, you got an A's your whole life. You're like, dang, you want to give up after that. You want to jump off a
Exactly.
building.
Exactly. 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 No, that's
Yeah,
so true. Yeah. And I think it's just, I mean, I was an agent, right, before I was an investor. So I think that I've experienced those limitations, but I also invested first before I like fully was totally engaged in like more agency volume. And so I kind of broke the shell of thinking like I only can do deals like this. I only can do deals like that. I was already in the space of like, buying deals from wholesalers, signing contracts for purchase on 70 trillion types of contracts. I mean, there's all kind of contracts for purchase, but as an agent, you're only thinking about one contract of purchase. You're only thinking about one way to sign. So even in that, I had already broken out of that shell of thinking that was only one way.
gotcha. Let's walk through from start to end. You don't have to give all details, right? But I want people to
Hmm.
understand like where you start from finding a home to when you put the home on the market and you sell it. So give us a play of you start, you find a home, and then anything in between that you can give us on to putting the home on the market after it's fixed.
So from start to finish of a
Yeah.
play,
Hmm.
okay, that's hard to do a lot. So I'll just say, you know, what I teach is to find, fund, fix, and flip. That's what I teach, right? And so finding the home is based on like finding out what your buyer is. I mean, who your seller is. Who is your seller? Identify your seller. Is it a tired landlord? Is it a probate situation where someone inherited a home? Is it a divorced couple that have to, they don't want to live together anymore and they just need to sell the home? So finding that person and then identifying where those people are and how you can market to them to be able to purchase your home, that's first. Because you want to focus on off market deals. Funding the deal is about, do you use private money? Do you use hard money? Do you use seller financing? There's a lot of ways that you can buy a property. You don't always have to have money to buy a property, right? Some people don't want to do the work. They just want to invest the money. And so that's one of the those are the ways that you can use other people's money to buy a flip. One of the biggest things is like people that flip forever, they've always used their own cash. And that always makes me cringe because I'm like, you can't scale with cash. Like you only can do so much because you only have so much cash to use, you know? But if you're leveraging someone else's money, your money goes further, right? And so I'm always telling people to make sure you're using, you know, funding from other parties so that you can stretch your money when you really learn the skill because you can make more money with other people's money, right? And it's called OPM. The third one is fixing. This is probably the longest part of the program because construction is just so many details in construction. There's so much information to learn. There's so many different things from house to house. Construction lessons are different. Plumbing at one house may be totally different from plumbing at another. And so we definitely go through the process of learning that, but then building a scope of work and then negotiating with contractors. And then fourth is, what we just talked about, listing the house, making sure the house is ready for an end buyer. And then, you're really thinking about number four when you're at number one. Like when you find the house, you want to make sure you can flip the house. And so it's like, our buyers buying this priced house right now? or is this price house going to sit on the market for a while because of a market condition? And I think that's another thing people don't think about.
So when you are going to these hard money lenders, what are the qualifications that they're looking for to even give you money?
So hard money lenders have like, there's 1,000 of them, first of all, right? And they all have different requirements. But the basic things they look for is some of them require credit and some of them don't, right? I mean, you could be as low as like no credit check at all to a 600 credit score, right? And then some of them require you to put money in. You know, sometimes they require you to have experience. Some of them don't require you to have experience, but they may ask you to put more money in. So if you have experience, you might put 5% down. If you have no experience, they might ask for 10 or 20%, right? For a first time flipper. But they do want to, you have to have an LLC, you have to have a bank account, you know, and these are asset based lenders. So that it's all about the deal. They don't care about, you know, your DTI, like how much debt you have, how many credit cards you maxed out, like, you know, if you're behind on your mortgage. They don't look at those things. They just want to look at the actual FICO score. And then once that FICO score meets their requirement, they're moving on. And so I think that's one of the myths that people get caught up in. It's like, I gotta have all this money and I gotta have a great credit score, or my DTI is too high. It's like some of the things that they think are hindering them from starting is just not true.
And maybe that's because that's what banks look for when you're
Yep.
purchasing a home. So,
Hmm.
from what you told me, investor side, real estate agent side, that's why they conflict sometimes. Like
Yep.
it all just is different, but it's the same.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
And what hard money lenders are looking for, they're looking for speed on the deals. It sounds like so. If you can meet that criteria, they're like, all right, I give you the money as long as I know I'm gonna get my money back and money on top of that.
Yeah.
My next question is, how do you put the amount of money that you need together to present to a hard money lender? Are you thinking about um, the contractors that you're bringing in when you're doing that?
So are you asking me? I think you're asking two different questions. One is how do you know how much money you need when
Yeah.
you start? Okay. And then the second one is how do you determine what your scope of work would be for a contractor? Basically, like
Hmm.
what how much is it going to cost for the rehab, right?
Yeah.
And so determining how much you need when you start. So I typically um, find out how much someone has, and I work from where they are rather than having a limitation on what they need to have to be here. I'll tell them if they have like below a certain amount, it's going to be more challenging for you, but the challenges are going to make you a better investor. The students that have less money are better investors. The students that have a lot of money, they just buy things because they can afford it, but they don't always take the time to do the due diligence around saving money, negotiating harder, you know. And I became that type of flipper, like to where like, you know, I had money, I was just like, I'll beat those people for 5,000. Or my contract was like, you know, this one is 50,000. Okay, that's fine. It still meets my numbers. But once I start coaching and I start seeing like all the different contractors that are out, I start seeing the prices that my students are getting from us negotiating, pushing people down. The margins, the profit margins are growing per student. And I'm like, okay, you know, now because I'm teaching them how to negotiate, it's better.
Yeah. And I heard Myron say this before. He said, when you broke, that's the creative you could get. When you broke, you get
It's
really
true.
creative with making money. But when you have money, you just want to pay for things to be done.
It's
And
true.
I have had money and I've been broke. And I can say he was not lying. When you're broke, but you got to have that mentality though, because you could be broke and just say everything's falling apart and
Yep.
I just give up. Or you could be broke and like, okay, I'm gonna make this happen. Then I know I can get this money to put into this. After now, you're looking at how to make that money work for you as well. So um,
Exactly.
I understand exactly where you're coming from with that. Now, I guess you answered my question, but
Oh, we talked about the rehab.
Yeah.
That's the one we were talking about.
Mhm.
Rehab is more challenging. I mean, you need a coach for rehab. I mean, it's just really no way around it. Like I would say, take a contractor to the house and have him, give you quotes, but it's just no way around it. Like that contractor can tell you any kind of price. I mean, I have a house right now with a student, and the GC didn't have a clue what he was doing. He literally did not have know enough about construction to do the project, and he got quotes from plumbers and electricians that were horrible. I mean, they gouged him to where it like made him go over his budget, and he just like turned out to be a terrible experience for a project. But it was just because he didn't know anything. He's trusting that they're giving him a quote that makes sense, and that's what the typical quotes are. And I mean, I can see a student or someone interested in getting involved with flipping go into that same space. Like my students know what prices should be when they finish. Like they know how much a plumber costs. They know how much an electrician should cost.
Yeah. I just actually put a bid in on a government contract, but I had to contact my videographers and my advertisement writers to get a true estimate on the contract.
Yeah.
Because what government tries to do, they'll try to lowball you, and then once you agree to it, now it's in writing, and now you have to make whatever they give you work. And now if you go out and find someone that
Yep.
you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. I need more money. They're not giving
Hmm.
you no more money. So the
Yep.
money
You
that you
got
got to come up with to pay the contractors,
gotta be
that's
a
come out of
pocket.
your pocket.
Yep. That's what happened to the GC. He ran out of money and then he had to keep working and then he just couldn't keep working because he was in the hole.
And you have different tiers, right? So you have one tier that's one price, and you have the top tier, and students get access to your network with the top tier. Am I right
Yes.
about that?
Yeah. So so all of them are in the community, of course. They all get access to the virtual classes. They all also have access to like my schedule, my coaching schedule. So I coach Tuesday and Thursday and Fridays. And so they all can come to like the group coaching sessions. Except my one-on-one students get access to a deal sourcing rep. And so this is a salesman that works specifically to ensure that my students are finding deals. And so I teach them how to find them. But if he gets a deal, he positions them in place to be able to get their first flip. And then the other thing that my one-on-one students get is they also get access to my hard money lender. So I have a partnership with a hard money lender that offers 100% financing. So typically, hard money lenders aren't going to give you anything but 70% of the after repair value. And so my money lender will give you 100% of the 70% that you need to buy the house. The only thing you have to pay for is closing costs.
Hmm. Sounds like
So it's a ridiculous deal. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I was talking to Clyde AI, and she was like, "This is dumb. They should do this one." I was like, "I appreciate it, Clyde."
that's so funny. So, is there anything that you have upcoming? I know Stacy is in here because I had a whole nother section. That's why it's a little short
Right.
tonight. And
You
he's,
good?
you know, but is there anything that you have upcoming that you want to tell everyone about?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the coolest thing is I teach every Sunday night at 7 p.m. So every Sunday night at 7 p.m. I teach. You could go to my Instagram page, Flip It with Brandi on Instagram, and it's Brandi Baker on Facebook. And you can go to my bio. The funnel link is there. The website for that webinar is there. You can register. It's free. I teach for like an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half, and I go through the whole process of like how you can find, fund, and fix and flip your first property. So, if you just want to learn and see what it's about, definitely come and check me out. But if you, after that, you'll know if you want to have a coach or not, for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. So you are just giving game left and right, just giving it away.
Yep.
But it's worth it. I mean, I think you're passionate about what you do, and you're good at
Yep.
what you do. Because some people can have passion and not be good. So,
No experience too.
okay.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you joining us, well, me tonight since Stacey isn't here. But
Yes.
that's all I have for you tonight, Brandon. Until the next time, this is Investment Talk.
Yes. Bye, guys.